That state's right to work law, again, nothing new. It makes it illegal to force workers to join unions. But here's where it gets a little weird. The union says that it violates their 13th Amendment rights because it forces them to work alongside non-union guys. You know, the 13th Amendment, that's the one that abolished slavery. My next guest says this shows that stupidity obviously has not been abolished. Competitive Enterprise Institute labor expert Vincent Vernuccio joining me now. What do you make of this, Vincent?
Well, Neil, I mean, this thing doesn't even pass the laugh test. I really don't know how the lawyers for the operating engineers submitted this brief with a straight face. This is what they're arguing. They're saying because not all workers are forced to pay them, yet the union chooses to represent all workers, that the right to work law, which gives the workers the option of not paying the union, violates the 13th Amendment. I mean, it's just, it's comical. What the union's not telling you is that they fight to have what's called an exclusive representation clause in the contract so they get to represent all workers because it gives them more bargaining power.
But here's where it gets weird. To possibly equate slavery with a union worker, sitting next to or working alongside a non-union worker is at best weird, is it not?
Yeah, Neil, I mean, what they're saying is that because they have to represent the workers that aren't paying union dues, that somehow this violates the 13th Amendment. It's not that they voluntarily chose to represent these workers. It's not that they voluntarily put this exclusive representation charge in, but somehow they're claiming slavery or being indentured servants for something that they chose to do and that they could easily get out of.
Now, I cannot imagine for the life of me African-American union workers would even like the inference of that connection.
Well, Neil, this is the whole new union mantra. They're trying to claim that unionization is a civil right, and this just is one more arrow in their quiver to say, hey, you're violating our civil rights if you do anything that jeopardizes the union boss's ability to take money from workers who don't want to pay them.
So where does it go from here? If they succeed in that argument, that's going to embolden, others in other states arguing similarly that we are enslaved to a system that deliberately enslaves us.
Yeah, Neil, actually where it goes from here is that's not even the end of it, Neil. In another brief to the court, they claim that it violates their First Amendment rights. And, just bear with me in the logic on this one. Because they can't force workers to pay them, workers that may disagree with the politics of the union doesn't have the money to give to politicians. So because the union can't force a worker to say something the worker doesn't agree with, the union's claiming that it violates their First Amendment rights.
Well, I'll give them, an A for, being creative. But that's about it, Vinny, thank you very, very much.
Neil, thanks for having me on.
All right. Well